everybody, how are you today? You know, I got an interesting email yesterday that asked me if I use different probes or pinpointers for different jobs. And the short answer is yes. So I'm going to do a video real quick, show you a couple things that I use, and you can decide, what type of probe or pinpointer you want to use. So stay tuned. Today the three probes we're going to talk about is a manual probe, an electronic pinpointer probe, and of course my favorites, the headphone probes. We'll get to those at the end of the video, so let's do these two first, which most people use. The first probe, this happens to be sold by Garrett. It's just basically a brass rod. We use these a lot in the 60s or 70s. And these were great for finding coins because you wouldn't scratch them as bad, and you tried to isolate the coin before you dug it up with your trowel. Mostly today I use these if I'm relic hunting or something like that. I'm probing around to see how big a larger item is, so I can kind of keep the hole reasonably small without having to dig up the whole earth. The next probe is a typical handheld pointer probe. This one's by Garrett. They call it the Garrett Carrot. It's powered by a 9-volt battery, which is concealed here in this cap. It's waterproof. So basically, if you look inside there, you'll see two larger holes, and on the end of a 9-volt battery you have one larger post. You line the larger holes up with the larger post and just screw this down, and that's pretty much all there is to it. There's one button that controls it. You have a speaker. It's waterproof up to 10 feet. You have a little hook for your lanyard. You have this patented scraping edge. You do have a little scale here in centimeters and in inches, which goes up to 8 inches here. I'll probably put some plastic dip like I did on my handle and put this up, just to help not get this all scratched up. Turn it on is simple. Just press the one button and you see this little light comes on. It has an LED light. It comes on, it vibrates, and it's on. So you only held that. To turn it off, hold it. You'll feel it vibrate because I got it in vibrate mode once, and it's off. So turn it on. It's on. Now to change modes, there's 6 modes in this thing. There's 3 sound and vibrating together. So small, medium, large, which means a little bit more intense. And then 3 vibration only. Vibration only, if you're out there doing something illegal like hunting Fort Knox. If you just want to kind of go quiet, not bother anybody on the beach, you can use that. So in order to get into those modes, you hold this button down for 2 seconds. You see how it's flipping? So now it's doing that. You can press the button once. You hear it beep. Now it's beeping twice. That's the 3 sound modes. Then the first vibrate, second vibrate, third vibrate, first sound mode, second sound mode, and that's where I want to stay. So I'll just let it stop here in a second. It's done, okay? Oh, that's my ring. So this probe, obviously you can pinpoint, or you can do it 360 all the way around, just like pretty much all the standard probes. These are about $125, give or take a little bit. They're pretty rugged. I believe they have a 2-year warranty. I use these around the beach, in the water, things like that a lot when I really don't want to take a chance of, dropping my other probe into the water. So that's a nice probe. The other feature this has is if I leave this probe for a while and I don't touch any of the buttons and I left it on, it'll alert me in a couple minutes, like every 30 seconds it'll beep until I find, oops, I put it too close again, until I find it. So we'll leave that there and see if it goes off. The next probe that I use probably the most is my DetectorPro headphone probe. It's called the Unipro. Now this probe is going to be discontinued, which is really sad, and the reason being is these run about 320 bucks, give or take, brand new, and the guy doesn't make a lot of money on them. They're basically a pulse induction metal detector inside the headphones. Way before XP Deus came out and all these other guys with this miniature circuitry, this guy was making these. These are 15, 20 years old, and they work as good as the day I got them. There's a couple components to them. One is this cable, which goes to your detector. I have to have an adapter because that's a 1/4-inch plug to hook it to my XP Deus, where you can take it apart right here. It just twists off like most Gray Ghost headphones, and you can put in a different adapter for like a Garrett. Okay. This little button here that says COMP, that's not for competition, it's for competing detectors. Some detectors are mono, some are stereo. So if you're flipping this up or down, 99% of all detectors made is going to work in one of those two modes. The next cord you have actually goes at a probe. This is a waterproof probe, up to here. So I wouldn't use these in the water like at the beach, but I'll use them around the river and stick it in there. I always hold this probe, this little connector here, like that around my hand, because I want to make sure that I'm not putting any stress there. So that's probably why these have lasted so long. When these are on my head, that goes to the right to the detector. I just put some Velcro here, and I put that just like that. So that's hanging on the right just like it would be with your cable cord. But back to these are a pulse induction metal detector. So you have the standard volume for up and down. You can, blow the secrets out. This turns the probe on or off. So if I turn this on, you can hear the probe. I don't know if you can hear that, but I can hear it. Anyway, turn that off. It's powered by one 9-volt battery, which you just pop this little thing off and put a 9-volt battery in like that. But it'll last a lot longer because it's not vibrating. And then your detector is set by your frequency and your threshold. And your frequency isn't like changing from 4 hertz to 8 hertz to 12 hertz. That frequency is actually how many pulses a second that this thing is throwing out. And the more pulses you're throwing out, the faster you're throwing them out, the quicker you respond to things and deeper you go. And then the threshold, you're trying to balance this. I can't do it here because there's too much stuff. But if you're outside, your detector will give a little EMI interference, and so will, electrical lines. So you just want to kind of balance that out a little bit. So you just hear it click every once in a while, and then you're good to go. So you try to get this up as high as you can and bounce this for clicking, and then you're ready to basically detect. The other nice, great thing about these is not only are these good for, hunting down in the river or whatever I'm doing with them, or regular ground for that matter. This is waterproof and very rugged probe. You can actually take this probe off and buy a 8-inch search coil, just like they use on their headhunters that they sell today, because that's basically what this is. And when you put that coil on, now if you're doing old farmhouses and barns and that kind of thing, up under the cellar rafters, I have a lot of options. I can cover a lot of space in areas that I would have to use a detector or take my detector apart and hold it in one hand and hold the coil separate. So it's a nice setup. I'm really kind of sad that they're not going to make these anymore. I understand that back in the day people didn't want to spend $300 for a set of headphones, but if you think about it, you're spending $125 for this, you're spending $100 and something for your headphones. You might as well do this. So the only downside that these ever had, they are adjustable. These will come in and out just like other headphones. People do complain, oh, they squeeze my head, my little ears hurt. Guys, you need to get your man bun and cut it off, because you're in the metal detecting world. You use heavy shovels, heavy equipment, you're digging stuff. They're going to make your ears sweat. So that's all I'm going to say about that. If you don't want your ears to hurt too much, make sure your ears are inside here. Don't like if this is your ear, don't lay them over your ear. Move them around to your ears inside here, number one. Number two, they are a little snug on a hot day. You will sweat a little bit. These ear muffs, you can see they're coming unglued here a little bit. This is just a piece of plastic in between there, but they sell those for like $4, and they're all the Gray Ghosts, so I can just buy them for $4 and put a new one on, or I can just use my own glue. But I didn't use my own glue because I was looking for some rubber cement. I don't want to permanently put them. They're not cracked or they're not squashed or anything. They just, the glue is old, so they haven't fallen off. So those are that. So you can hear that thing. It's alerting me, I believe, that, I don't know if because I'm too close or it's finally alerting me that I haven't pressed a button or done something, but yeah, there it goes. See, it's going all by itself. So I've lost my pinpointer, so if I just hold that for half a second, it'll beep once and off it goes. just hold it a half a second. If you hold it for 2 seconds, it continues. So that's my wrap up of the probes I use. You know, there's many probes out there from manual. You know, they also make long probes that are about 4 feet long for manual, which is great. We used to use them for septic tank locations. They're about 80, 90 bucks now, but they're great for like bottle dumps and that kind of thing. You know, once you have some skill with them, you can tell between a rock or metal or something like a bottle. So those probes are great. Obviously, there's a multitude of handheld ones. There's cheaper ones that aren't waterproof. There's other brands that run about the same price. Now, that's your preference. I will use the plastic dip, like I said, and dip that down in there just to put an extra coating, you know, to save some wear and tear on this. Other than that, this will last for years. So if you enjoyed the videos, you know, give me your comments down below. Let me know what you think, or, you know, if you like them, hate them, or if you want to see some other videos. But yeah, that's about it with these. Oh, to use these with my XP Deus, obviously, I was telling you earlier about these cords. You know, this is a 1/4 inch standard, you know, Whites and some of the older Garretts and Fisher use that. Nowadays, most people are going to like a smaller 3.5 like my XP Deus has. So I can either buy an adapter or I can buy a whole new cord if I want to use these with the Deus. But I have wireless headphones, which I'll do in another video for the Deus. So yeah, leave some comments down there. Let me know what you think, or what else you want me to do videos on, and we appreciate you tuning in. Well, everyone, I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, go down to the comment section and leave a comment about it, or a suggestion of what you'd like to see next. While you're there, hit the thumbs up. And don't forget, you can always share it on Facebook or your other social sites. Of course, YouTube will show you other videos over here you may like, and you're always free to hit that subscribe button. Thanks.